Hey everyone, this is Sharon and Jamie from Sharonatsea.
What's going on, everybody?
And today we are here to talk about our 5 best tips for the main dining room. All right, so let's get started with our first one.
And Sharon, I'd like to thank you for bringing up this topic because the main dining room is someplace that's very near and dear to my heart, or should I say my belly. All right, so the first tip we have is something that we started doing many cruises ago, and we still do it even to this day, even though we've been on a number of cruises, is when we get on the ship, our sail and sign card, our ship card, will have what dining room that you go to, and it may even have what table that you're seated at.
If you have a scheduled dining time.
If you have a scheduled dining time, not anytime dining, but a scheduled dining room seating. And so we like to go to that dining room and try to get a sneak peek at where our table is. Is it right in the middle of everything and all the action? Is it in a weird spot off to the corner? Is it an awkward bench type of a seat that I'm not going to be comfortable in or something like that? And so we'll go and we'll try to take a look. And if there's anything we want to adjust or change or any questions in general we have, usually on the first afternoon, the maitre d' and 1 or 2 of their staff will be placed at one of the main dining rooms to help with just those kind of situations, questions, concerns, or anything that people have. They'll be out there to talk to the guests of the cruise ship, and you can run up there and talk to them about, hey, here's where I'm seated. I don't really like that seat. Can you change it now? And it's a lot easier to make those changes before the first night's seating versus after the fact. And the earlier you can address it, the better chance you have of there being another table or area where you might be able to sit at.
Yeah, and then there are some cruise lines where when you actually book your cruise, there's a spot where you put in your dining, whether you want anytime dining or a scheduled dining time. There'll also be a spot where you can request, do you want a table for 2, table for 4, table for 6, and so on. And you can actually put that in right there. So if you want to be seated with others, it lets them know that. And if you want to be seated alone, the 2 of you or whatever the case is, then it lets them know that as well, and then they will accommodate that.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to try maybe sitting with some other people. Some of the best times we've had and some of the best friends we've ever made were when we sat with others on a cruise ship, and we met another family. We've been friends ever since, probably for about 13, 14 years now, and it's been fantastic. So don't be afraid. If you get seated with some other folks, make the best of it and enjoy it and make some new friends in the process.
That's right.
All right, Sharon, what else do we have?
All right, we just talked about speaking with the maitre d', we had seating problems.
Sure, making seating arrangements and things like that. Can the maitre d' help us out with other stuff?
Well, there is. Another thing you would want to talk to the maitre d' with on embarkation day, if possible, is if you have maybe food allergies. That is really important to speak with him. That way they are able to accommodate you with some of your food allergies, maybe make you something special or let you know what is in some of the foods that they do have. Also, if you're vegetarian, that's another time to speak with him. He can also give you some food options, tell you what's available around the ship or in the main dining room as well. So if you have any type of food issues at all, allergies or whatever, just food preferences, just talk to the maitre d'. They are very accommodating on the cruise ships.
Yeah,
they try to please everyone.
If it's not something they can directly affect, like in the main dining room, they might put you in touch with someone else, the chef or someone else in a certain area who can tell you, are there milk products in a certain, buffet meal or item that you're looking at? Or is there any chance of there being any nuts or peanut oils used in the cooking of something else? They can explain all that stuff for you or put you in touch with someone who can to make sure that you feel at ease with yourself or your kids and dealing with any food or diet needs or food allergies, anything like that.
That's right. So just speak with the maitre d' about this because he's the one that's kind of oversees all the areas, and can kind of get in touch with different areas about this and let you know what's really in your food.
So this next tip is going to be for folks that are taking advantage of something that most ships refer to as anytime or your time dining. Traditionally, all this food in the main dining room was served at seatings. It might be 5:45 or 6 or 7:45 or 8 or something like that. Everyone comes in at once, sits down, gets served, eat, and gets the heck out of there. But now, anytime dining is a very popular alternative in the main dining room that you can take advantage of. We started doing it a lot when it's just the three of us traveling. When there's a larger group, usually making a dining arrangement and a set time is a little more convenient and easier to maneuver. But if there's about 5 of you or less, then anytime dining can work out really well. One thing to consider is when you get there, it is similar to just like going to a restaurant. If you go right in the middle of dinner time, it's going to be busy and there's going to be a wait. Most folks head to main dining room for anytime dining right when it opens, which might be 5:45 or 6 o'clock, or they go much later on in the evening. So either get there early before they open, wait in line for a few minutes to get a spot, or give it an hour and wait till later to go in. Because if you go in 20 minutes after it opens, chances are you're going to have a little bit of a wait.
Yeah, the tables are all going to be full, and you're going to have to wait for those people to finish so they can bring in some more people. So kind of just like a restaurant, basically, you know, you have to wait for people to finish to fill up the tables again.
Sure.
So it's kind of the same.
Same type of setup. And you might go there and say, hey, you know, and if you do go 20 minutes after your time or anytime dining opens up, and they say, yeah, it's going to be a 20-minute wait, just say, okay, cool, put me on the list. I'm going to go have a drink at the lobby bar, or I'm going to run down to the casino for 10 minutes, or take the kids to the arcade or something, and then head on back. But that way you get a feeling for how the anytime dining is going to work as far as you know, how easy or difficult it is to get a table. And they'll actually give you those cool little light up things, just like when you go to a restaurant that you hold on to a little buzzer that lights up, and that'll let you know that it's time for you to eat your dinner. So so that's just a little tip on the anytime dining, when to go, and how to avoid just standing around for a long wait.
So if you don't get there right away, you know, wait a while, hour or so, and then go.
There you go.
All right, earlier we mentioned speaking with the maitre d' on embarkation day about making some, you know, arrangements for a different table, or
stuff like that.
So this has actually to do with groups. If you are traveling in a larger group, or maybe even just 2 or 3 cabins that are sailing together and you want to sit at a larger table together at dinner, don't wait until embarkation day to try to link up and sit at the same table, because all those large tables are going to be taken and they're probably not going to be able to move people around enough to accommodate you. So when you need to arrange this is when you book your cruise, or sometime shortly after that, before you make your final payment. When you can, you know, where you go in and you put in your dining time, that's when you want to put in the links. You're going to take everyone's booking number, and there's going to be a spot where you can link them all together. And this isn't something that you can do on your own online. It's something that either a personal vacation planner at one of the cruise lines has to do, or your travel agent has to do for you. So just let them know that you want all these cabins linked together, and they will put that in for you, so you'll be linked together, and the ship will know, and they will accommodate a table for that amount of people.
Yeah, they'll do the best they can. I mean, if you have 16 people like we did on one of our cruises, we had like a table of 10 and then a table of 6 or 7 next to it. Now, who ultimately sat at those tables, well, that was up to us. So they assigned everyone a spot at one of those tables.
And they were
when we got there, we kind of said, okay, you kids sit here, and some adults will sit here, and we'll sit over here, and we just shuffled around a little. And ultimately, it doesn't matter to the server. They just want to know where you are on day one, and try to stay in those same seats if you can, as they get to know you better.
And they will put you at the same table, or tables right next to each other, though. They're not going to put you across from the dining room. But if you're linked together, you will be somewhat together there. All right, and our last main dining room tip is Jamie's favorite.
It sure is my favorite. Now, when I sit down in the main dining room, I look at the menu. Quite often, there are a lot of delicious looking items on there, and there's things where I don't want to miss out on them. I mean, you're not paying for them at the moment. It's already included in the price of your cruise, and I want to taste every delicious item that's on there. So don't be afraid if there's more than 1 or 2 appetizers that you like. Order one of each. For example, I always have a shrimp cocktail for dinner. Then I'll choose another appetizer as well. I mean, the portions aren't huge, so I'm not overloading, and I love a shrimp cocktail every night on the cruise. So I'll do something like that. Or on one night when there are 2 amazing entrees for dinner, I'm gonna get one of each, because I'll eat them, and I'm gonna take advantage of that deal. So don't be afraid to order a little bit of extra food. It's pretty normal.
Another thing, you can also, sometimes they will make one of the entrees as an appetizer for you if you just want like a second one and maybe you don't want the whole thing, you know. So
yeah, you can make a little bit of a request, and sometimes they can accommodate you, so don't be afraid to ask for a little something special, nothing too wild.
You can order things off the kids menu if you want to.
Oh yeah.
Actually, one of Jamie's favorite desserts is off the kids menu. He frequently orders banana splits.
I do, especially now, and it's really weird because in the beginning I love the chocolate melting cake, and the creme brulee is amazing, and there's all kinds of other neat desserts. But sometimes I just like to have something I don't have much of at home, and that's a banana split. And I'll order the banana split on the first night, and they'll look at me like, really? And I'll say, yes, sir. And then they're more than happy to throw that together each night. It's not like a award-winning banana split you get from a specialty ice cream store or something, but
just very simple. But
something simple, but it's just tasty. A little something light that I like at the end of the meal if I don't want to go with something fancy, and it works great. So don't be afraid to order a little bit of extra food. Don't be afraid to order a second appetizer or even an extra entree.
That's right. They expect it. People do it all the time.
Yes, the food is already there. In most cases, it's prepared. There are a certain amount of meals there, so they're not going to any extra trouble. They're just grabbing an extra plate of something that's already made and prepared for somebody.
That's right. So there you go.
Yep.
That was our 5 main dining room tips.
Yes, so hopefully a couple of these things will help you have a great experience when you're eating in the main dining room on the cruise ship. And as always, we just want to say,
happy cruising.
Happy cruising.